So this here is my 2006 Mac Mini. It's been working nicely. Problem is it's a bit slow. So I've recently acquired this here, which is a T7200, which is a faster chip for it. And the big advantage here is this is a Core 2 Duo instead of the Core Duo in here, which lets me put. It's now going to be a 64-bit instead of a 32-bit computer. I also happen to acquire, I have a bag of it somewhere. Here it is. I have some DDR2 2GB SODIMM, so I can put 4 gigs of RAM instead of 1 in here. It's going to make this guy here a lot faster, which is going to be really nice. So I can just kind of use this as a secondary machine. I might even use it to drive this computer here for a little bit more permanent setup, because it's going to be a lot faster than this guy would be. But that's going to be kind of nice to have. Also, the 64-bit will let me use 4 gigs of RAM, but Linux has PAE enabled, so you don't need 64-bit to... Because, okay, 32-bit Linux normally supports up to 64 gigs of RAM, because it has PAE, which lets you have multiple pages. But let's get into actually swapping the CPU and RAM inside this computer first. Okay, so here's the Mac Mini. First thing you notice is that you don't really see any screws. So how if you want to open these guys up, you have to take something like a putty knife I have here, put it in, and just kind of slowly go around until you hear the snaps go. And then you see the whole thing pops open. I've opened this guy before, so it opens a bit easier than he would if he's new. But still, he opens right up. And the whole thing just kind of lifts right out. Okay, so now what we have to do is you have to remove the Wi-Fi antenna here. I've already taken out the screws in here earlier and haven't just put them in because I just really don't have a reason to put the screws in for this guy. And I can also, you're going to have to pull out the cable that goes to the optical drive here, which does that. And then once you take out all of these screws, so there's one screw here, 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 and here, 4 total. And there's a few other little cables, like there's a cable here you have to unplug, and there's one right here that you have to unplug. You have to take out these 2 cables. The rest of this just lifts right off. Oh, sometimes like these cables get stuck around. Okay, so now that I have that all removed, okay, so now we're going to do the RAM replacement. So RAM, this DDR2 in here, comes out like any other notebook RAM would, so just pull apart the tabs, pops right out, and then sometimes dual layer laptop RAM can be kind of a pain to pull out, but there you go. This RAM came out, and this is, yeah, PC 5300. So I have a little bit extra of this stuff here. Let's see if I can find a matching kit. I can. And there you go. This here is also, yeah. This is a different DDR stand. This might be DDR3. Let me hunt and find my DDR2 sticks. So here I have RAM. It says it's a different PC 6400 instead of 5300. That only means it's a faster piece of RAM. Now this system won't run it at its max speed, which is 800 megahertz instead of the stock 667 that this computer normally runs it at. It'll just run the memory slower than it normally is fully capable of. But that's fine, because memory speed rarely affects performance. Though this is running onboard graphics, but this guy's running GMA 950, and it's GMA 950 is horrible. It's fine for desktop. Okay, so now we've upgraded the RAM in this computer. Next thing we have to upgrade is now the CPU, which you have to take out the motherboard to do. In order to take out the motherboard, you have to take out this screw right here, which requires pulling out a bit set and finding the proper hex. Basically, you have to find the proper star bit. I think right here it's not this one, it's this star bit right here. You put it in here, unscrew it. This is a piece that the other screw goes into. And then the whole motherboard just lifts out, which you have to do to swap the CPU. Let's pull out, I'll pull out the motherboard off camera because it can be kind of a pain. Boy. Okay, I didn't have to take it off camera. Wi-Fi antennas can kind of get in the way, but you can see. Also, you can see here, here's the little chipset cooler. It uses the bottom as the chipset cooler. for the little chipset on the bottom. Now we have the heatsink, which is held in by little push pins. If you want to take off those push pins, all you have to do is use something like pliers to squeeze it together, and they just pop right back through. So you just have to push them right through once you use pliers. You have to do that with all of them, and then I'll show you what we do with the CPU socket once we take that out. Okay, so now you have to be careful not to fully take it off because there's a little temperature sensor squished in here to find out what the temperature of the heatsink is. And what you have to do now is get a little slot screwdriver and turn the this little lock retention all the way around. That unlocks the CPU, so now you can take it out. It's a little Intel Mobile. This guy had a T3200, which is a 1.62 meg. If I pull out my new chip, this guy here, it's actually a bigger die because it has more cache on it. And if you line up the triangle and the missing pins, it'll go in just like this. Also for reference, this is a mobile Intel socket, so you won't ever find this in normal desktops. The only reason it's in here is because this is a small form factor desktop. I now will go and clean it up a little bit, clean up the old thermal paste, and then I'll add a little bit more thermal paste, and then put in a new heatsink, get it fully assembled, and show you when it boots, and show you that it has more RAM and more CPU in the OS. So the last clip showed it, kind of, which was we ran into a little snafu, which was it wasn't turning on the screen at all. So it was either the memory or the CPU, and I'm gonna make a guess of it being memory because normally memory is a lot more likely to have issues than the CPUs are. CPUs are, and I know people have gotten it to work with those CPUs before. And the fans, it always shows this because I'm running Linux on it. Okay, and here's what the problem is. The memory I was trying to use is this right here. This is PC64666 timings. It natively wants to be using memory with I think 444 timings. It was trying to run this at 444 timings, thus not working, even though this is rated for higher clock speed. Now once we get booted back in, it'll probably show that we have a perfectly functional CPU, which is what I'm waiting for, and I'm going to show you that. Now I'm just going to have to find a memory stick, because I have this pair here, which is 666 at a higher speed, DDR2800, and I'm pretty sure in my bin of memory I also have a, here's some more DDR2. That pin just looked a little strange. And this here is also 2 gigs, but, okay, so I have this stick here. Okay, we're booted. I can stop killing time now. But if we open up a terminal, I can go cat/POC/CPU-FO, and then this here will show us, here you go, T7200 at 2 gigahertz. So now I have a 2 gigahertz dual core. But if I go, there's not really many ways I can show this. Core 2 Duo 2 gigahertz, but if I go H-top, I only also now have a half a gig of RAM, so we're gonna go shut down. I'm gonna shut it down with the GUI, but the problem is the memory, so I'm gonna have to dig around and find some working memory sticks. Here we have some this is DDR3, and the fan was running at max speed. I don't know why exactly it was doing that. I'm gonna try this stick here, which is slightly higher timings, but I think could get away with running it, but it's borrowed from another computer. So I'm hoping he's not gonna have to require this one. But I'll do a little bit of research and see what I can get to work. So after a little bit of tinkering and stuff, I got it to work. It only has 2 gigs of RAM because I didn't happen to have the right RAM that would give me the capability to put 4 gigs in, which I'd like. But I think it's time to just put the top back on him and call it a day. The CPU works great and gives me a little bit of extra oomph. And this costed me nothing, so it's a nice little upgrade for this old guy, which I might use as like a music PC in the shop, or you don't know. It's always nice to have an extra little computer, little web browsing system, something like that. So thanks for watching this video, and if you liked it, like it, and there's going to be more older computer videos coming up soon, so make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for those. Bye!